Hi, this is Boris. Welcome to Movie Messenger. Today I'm going to talk about a movie called SPOORLOOS, also known as The Vanishing in English. SPOORLOOS, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And by the way, I apologize in advance, I'm going to butcher the names. I can only do my best as a guy who speaks French and English. I don't speak Dutch. So, SPOORLOOS, also known as The Vanishing, is a Dutch-French film directed by Georges Rizier, released in 1988, starring Jean Berway as Rex Hoffman, Johanna Dersiek as Saskia, and Bernard-Pierre Donadieu as Raymond Lemorne. The movie is based on a novel called The Golden Egg by Tim Crabbe, who also wrote the screenplay for the movie. The original title is SPOORLOOS, which is translated to Traceless. A little trivia: the central plot of the film and the novel on which it is based on is from an archetype urban legend related to the Paris Exposition of 1901. A woman and her daughter travel to Paris for the exhibition, and whilst the woman unpacks, the daughter goes to a nearby shop. When she returns to the hotel, the mother is gone, and no one in the hotel remembers having seen her. The idea also formed for the basis for Alfred Hitchcock's The Lady Vanishes from 1938. Here's the synopsis. Rex and Saskia, a young couple in love, are on vacation. They stop at a busy service station and Saskia is abducted. After 3 years and no sign of Saskia, Rex begins receiving letters from the abductor. It's difficult to define the genre, but when it comes to psychological thrillers, the instability of characters is given center stage. There is usually something odd about the characters in such a narrative. The kind of odd that you are curiously tied to until you realize you've gone too far down the empty, dark hallway. The movie is one of the greatest psychological thrillers ever made. If you are expecting an action thriller, it's not one. It's a carefully planned storytelling with precise pacing. There are very few characters in the movie, which allows us to dive deep into their lives, to see what they are going through. It's European cinematic tension wrapped in charming indie film-like realism. I've always considered that patience is a crucial quality for a filmmaker, and this movie is the perfect example in the way Georges Rizier keeps you engaged even with its unconventional way of telling the story, providing that execution can elevate the script, because the plot is very simple at first glance. Most psychological thrillers are a form of whodunit narrative, but here everything is revealed. We are invited to sympathize with the killer. Raymond is clumsy, funny, he's a family man. Rex, on the other hand, is shown as emotionally unstable. This dynamic shifts in the third act of the movie when Rex finally finds out what happened to Saskia. Before we get to the non-spoiler analysis, I wanted to shortly mention other movies which you might like if you like this movie. In one article it was mentioned that Denis Villeneuve might have copied the ending to his 2013 movie The Prisoner, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. I think there is also a critique of humans' desire to find the truth at all costs, like in Old Boy, where Odessu's obsession to discover the truth about his abduction leads him to the twist that ultimately destroys him. There is also The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, in which the abductor is shown as haunting the victim's family members by sending them framed plants. The title of the novel, The Golden Egg, will make sense at the end of the movie and on the last shot, and I love that. Another movie that reveals itself on the last shot is the 2015 movie The Invitation. So check these movies out if you like SPOORLOOS. You will also like them. The most important thing that can ruin a movie is the ending. Even if the whole movie is great but the ending is not likable, you can have mixed feelings about the movie. This is one of the movie endings which will haunt you. As mentioned in the trivia, the premise of the story is not new. Even the movie Shutter Island, directed by Martin Scorsese starring Leonardo DiCaprio, starts with someone's disappearance. After the recent viewing, I realized that there are traces of a Greek tragedy in this movie. For this to make sense, let me give you a brief summary of the myth of Oedipus, where this concept of Oedipus complex comes from. It's more clear in Old Boy, which was mentioned earlier. Oedipus was trying to prevent a prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. He thought that his adoptive parents were his biological parents. He didn't realize that he killed his own father in a fight. And he answers the famous riddle from the Sphinx and gained the hand in marriage, the hand of the widow Queen Jocasta. Against the warning of a prophet, he goes to find the identity of the king's killer, only to find that it was him and that he married his biological mother. To come back to SPOORLOOS, I said that it has traces of this myth because Saskia in the beginning of the movie is haunted by visions of their fate, like a prophet or oracle. The tragic aspect to this film is when it shows that humans can't escape their fate. The movie is also about obsession, the obsession of the abductor Raymond to commit an act of pure evil, and that of Rex, who wants to know what happened to his girlfriend at all cost. Like Oedipus, Rex meets the same fate as Saskia because he was driven by his obsession to find the truth. I think this is also a critique of the general public to be curious about the details of a crime. It doesn't matter how someone disappeared, we want to know what happened to them or if someone is attacked. It doesn't really matter, we want to know how they were attacked, where, with what kind of weapon, and so on. It's like an origin story to a serial killer. He possesses all the characteristics of a serial killer. He doesn't have a threatening look, he has that man from your neighborhood look. He's smart, he's a sociopath, and he wants his crime to be known, because his random act was so successful and perfectly executed that nothing could be traced back to him, but he wanted to have his act of evil recognized, almost awarded for it in his own twisted way. I would even argue that what he does to Rex, the boyfriend, is more disturbingly cruel than what he did to Saskia. When you are shown the villain to be sympathetic, almost a personification of the idea that if you put your mind to it, you can achieve what you want, but then we slowly understand what kind of person he is. And at the end, we are in for the ride because we also want to know what happened. Finally, I think this movie also warns you that you have to cherish every moment you spend with your loved ones, whether they are your partners, your parents, children, friends, etc. Because you can lose that person in a blink of an eye. This is Boris from Movie Messenger, signing off.